Indestructible in Magic the Gathering. What does it really mean? What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most misunderstood and sometimes overestimated mechanics in Magic the Gathering: Indestructible. You probably heard someone say, "Oh, it has Indestructible, it's never going to die." But that's not exactly true. Today, we're going to break down what Indestructible actually means, what does it protect, what still kills it, and how to use it strategically in your commander games. By the end of this video, you're going to understand Indestructible better than most people at your LGS. Let's jump into it. What does Indestructible actually mean? In Magic the Gathering, Indestructible means a permanent with Indestructible cannot be destroyed. That's it. But what does destroyed mean in the rules? There are two ways something is destroyed in Magic. It takes lethal damage or an effect that specifically says destroy. If either of those happen to normal creatures, it goes to the graveyard. But if it has Indestructible, it will stay on the battlefield. What does Indestructible actually stop? Let's go through some examples. Example 1. Destroy effects. Cards like Doomblade, Wrath of God, Blasphemous Act. If it says destroy, Indestructible will stay. Your creature will not be harmed by those spells. Another thing is lethal damage. Let's say you have a 5/5 indestructible creature and it gets hit for 20 points of damage. Normally, most creatures would die, but Indestructible says, I don't care how much damage it is. It stays on the battlefield. Even better, damage still gets marked, but it won't cause it to die. So you could chain these with other effects that, if damage is taken, you could instead convert that damage into counters, growing your indestructible creature, making it a more fearsome foe. What Indestructible doesn't stop though, now this is where people kind of get mixed up. Indestructible does not stop Exile. Cards like Sword to Plowshares or Path of Exile, those will bypass your indestructible ability because of the key term Exile and not destroy. Other ways to bypass Indestructible is by forcing you or an opponent with the indestructible creature to sacrifice it. So if someone casts a Diabolic Edict or a Grave Pact and they force you to sacrifice creatures, and your only available target is your indestructible creature, it will go to the graveyard because there's no key term for destroy. Another way to bypass Indestructible is with -X counter effects. Now this is huge. If your creature is a 5/5 but ends up getting -5/-5 counters on it, or have its toughness reduced to 0, it dies. Why? Because state-based actions say if a creature has 0 toughness or less, it goes to the graveyard. That's not technically destroying it, it just dies. So cards like Toxic Deluge will absolutely wreck a board of indestructible creatures, as well as cards that give the Wither ability, which converts damage into -1/-1 counters. Another way to bypass Indestructible are with bounce abilities. We've seen many of these type of cards, especially in the Bloomburrow set, but also you see them in game changers like Cyclonic Rift. Anything that will bounce it back into the player's hand will still affect an indestructible creature. Common rule confusions. Here are some of the fast mythbusters to help it break it down. A board wipe that says destroy all creatures, Indestructible survives. Board wipes that say exile all creatures, Indestructible dies. Damage based board wipes like Blasphemous Act, indestructible creature will stay. Board wipes like Toxic Deluge that applies -X counters, Indestructible will die. Sacrifice effects, dead. It's also important to know that if your creature is indestructible and someone casts Wrath of God, it will still survive. Wrath of God says, destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated, but that key term will not apply to you because the first key term of that ability is destroy, which Indestructible will negate. Strategic uses in Commander with a card with Indestructible. If you expect damage based board wipes, or if you're running a combat focused deck, Indestructible will be great additions to those type of decks. Another type of deck that will benefit greatly in having Indestructible are those single focus commander decks. If you are building a deck completely around your commander, making it be your primary focus, you would want to layer protection onto your commander like Indestructible. You shouldn't only rely on it. And I used that term earlier, layering. What does that mean? When you are applying layering to a creature, you're adding different kinds of protections. In our other videos, I discussed in length the difference between hexproof and shroud. So, applying some of these effects onto your indestructible creature, especially if it's a focus-based deck around your commander, great way to ensure its survivability and taking you to that late end game and hopefully drawing what you need to secure the win. So in conclusion, we're going to wrap all of this up. Indestructible is powerful, but it's not invincible. It stops destruction, it stops lethal damage, but exiles, sacrifices, bounces, and -X will still answer it and wipe it out. If you learned something today, drop a comment. What's your favorite indestructible creature, or what's your favorite way to apply indestructible to a creature? And if you want more breakdowns like this and mechanics explained the right way, make sure you subscribe. And if you need singles, protection pieces, or upgrades for your commander deck, there will be a link in the description below for my TCG Pro Seller website, as well as a link to the Discord. We're always looking for chill and active members, so that way it's easier to find pods on those slower days when Convoke and Spell Table, it just seems almost impossible to get a game. So as always, stay safe, stay golden. Until next time, peace.